and welcome to the Cook Memorial Public Library podcast, where we invite you to spend just a few minutes of your time with the staff at Cook Library. My name is Hannah Dove. I'm a Popular Services Assistant in the Popular Services Department here at Cook Library, and I'm here today to welcome a very special guest, Mary Thompson, the newest member of our Cook Library family and the newest member in our Popular Services Department. Welcome to the podcast, Mary. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Mary Thompson. I'm so excited to be a part of the adult staff this time around. I spent 14 years in the Cook Children's Department and just thrilled to be back. I love children's literature, but I'm really enjoying just deep dives into some adult books that I feel like I can tell my family, leave me alone. I'm working right now, and I'm just enjoying reading my head off.
To get to know your reading style a bit better, tell us about one of your favorite books.
The one I find myself returning to the most is Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre.
Yeah, I'm a big rereader when I have the time, and that one just hits me in a different place every time. And I know the first time I read it, I'm sure I was way too young in some ways, but it speaks to me differently every time.
So you're a gothic fiction fan.
I do enjoy that a lot.
What is it about gothic fiction that draws you to it?
Okay, common trope is like the creepy old house. That becomes as much a character as any of the people in the story, and I'm a big fan of a well-written place. I like the predictability in a way of a Gothic novel because there are obviously paths that are followed throughout the story. But that being said, the curveballs are awesome too, for sure.
I have special insight as I do work alongside you at the Popular Services office. I do know that you're currently reading Silvia Moreno-Garcia's Mexican Gothic.
This was on my Goodreads list for a while, and I saw it on our book club shelf, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've been dying to read that book. And it just blew me away. I just thought it was so beautifully written. The best part, I felt, of the book, I mean, as much as she gives all those nods to all the traditional, creepy, craggy cliffs as our heroine, who's, not from this world, is entering this new creepy domain. It was so wonderful, but what really stood out for me was the fact that it was set in the 1950s and in Mexico, and just the backdrop of the strive for Mexican independence. It just put a whole other level, I really felt, on the idea of grief, familial cycles that people get trapped in, and it just was a super book. It just hit all the notes for me. It was just incredible.
If you're a fan of Silvia Moreno-Garcia's Mexican Gothic, make sure to check out her latest novel, Silver Nitrate, published in July of this year. Let me set the scene for you. Montserrat has always been overlooked. She's a talented sound editor, but she's left out of the boys' club running the film industry in 90s Mexico City. And she's all but invisible to her best friend Tristan, a charming if faded soap opera star, though she's been in love with him since childhood. Then, Tristan discovers his new neighbor is the cult horror director Abel Ureta, and the legendary auteur claims that he can change their lives, even if his tale of a Nazi occultist imbuing magic into highly volatile silver nitrate stock sounds like sheer fantasy. The magic film was never finished, which is why Ureta swears his career vanished overnight. He is cursed. Now, the director wants Montserrat and Tristan to help him shoot the missing scene and lift the curse. But Montserrat soon notices a dark presence following her, and Tristan begins seeing the ghost of his ex-girlfriend. As they work together to unravel the mystery of the film and the obscure occultist who once roamed their city, Montserrat and Tristan may find that their sorcerers and magic are not only the stuff of movies. Fast-paced, atmospheric, and intricately plotted, Silver Nitrate is a horror novel that will have you on the edge of your seat. Perfect for the month of October. Well, then, what is the most recent book that you've read?
It's another scary book with the Ouroboros, which figures heavily in this book, and then it was in The Devil's Playground, another super creepy read, which I just loved. It was really well written, different geographically. It takes place mostly in 1927 in Hollywood, and a cursed movie set where everybody's dropping like flies. And this studio fixer named Mary Rourke is assigned to kind of keep track of what's happening to all the actors and actresses and, people that are involved with this film that are meeting mysterious ends and things. She is such an incredible character, and the author does a great job bringing the story back and forth all the way into the early 1900s in Louisiana and the swamps of Louisiana, and then back into Hollywood in 1960s to kind of come to a conclusion, which is very exciting and not always what I was expecting.
All right, Mary. I will leave you with one more question. What do you think makes a good book?
I think for me, it's the well-drawn character, for sure. Plot is great, setting is super, but for me, the characters have to be, I was going to say relatable, but I really love an unreliable narrator. I don't know, it's just a good, solid character. If I feel like I love somebody who really keeps me guessing, for sure, but it would just be a deep character who experiences things throughout the book. That being said, though, I just finished the book The Guest, and that one was scary in some ways, but not intended to be frightening. But that character, I don't really know what she learned by the end of her journey, I guess I would say. But yeah, definitely for me, that's an inarticulate way of saying it's the character for me 100%.
Well, thank you so much for listening to us here on Bookies Talk. This has been Hannah Dove, Popular Services Assistant, with Mary Thompson. If you'd like to learn more about the Bookies and what we do, please go online to cooklib.org/bookies and see everything that we have to offer. While you're on our website, take a look at Shelf Life, the library's blog where we regularly share what's new and interesting in books, movies, and music. If you ever want to get in touch and leave some feedback, please send a message to us at webmaster@cooklib.org. If you enjoy this podcast, share it with those you love. And one of the best things you can do to support us is to take a moment and leave a rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Those ratings help us get this podcast noticed. We'll be back soon. But until then, keep reading, keep watching, and keep listening.